I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the town of Bay-Westfield on Monday, September the 8th, 2025, to order at 7:00 p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that Bay-Westfield exists on the traditional Wolastoqey land. The lands of Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs by our town is known as Wolastoqey, along which live Wolastoqey, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. We, the staff and elected representatives, pay respect to the elders past and present and descendants of this land. Item 4, record of attendance. We have regrets from Councillor Day this evening and everybody else is here. Item 5, agenda approval. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Bay-Westfield approve the agenda of September 8th, 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Do I have a second? Councillor Bellman, thank you very much. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thanks. Item 6, disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any? There being none, we will move on to item 7, public hearings, presentations, delegations, and petitions. And item 7A is another great news story. It's post-secondary bursary presentation. And we have with us here this evening Chloe Johnson, who is the winner of the MBCC bursary. And I would like to present that to you now, Chloe. Thank you very much for coming in and getting it. Congratulations. That's for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Or are you taking it at MBCC?
Nursing.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day. You too.
Item 7B, 100 Radon Test Kit Challenge community results from the Canadian Association of Radon Scientists and Technologists. And with us here tonight, we have Pam Workington, who is going to present that to us. Welcome, Pam. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I do have a slide deck that I can share. It's not letting me share at the moment, but I can share once that's turned on. Perfect, thank you. Okay, you should be able to see my slides now.
Okay, yeah, we can see them.
Perfect. So Take Action on Radon is a national initiative that is funded by Health Canada, and the 100 Test Kit Challenge is a program under that initiative. It allows us to provide a turnkey program to communities such as yourself, where we provide all the tools and resources for each step of the process. No cost to participate in communities, but it does require the staff time for organizing, distributing, and collecting the kits, and also just helping us communicate with the participants as well. So we really appreciate the staff, Brock and his team, and others have helped us with that, and so we're really thankful for them, and thankful to your community that you worked with us to be able to provide free kits to the community members. This program has 4 goals. The first is to distribute radon kits, and so it allows us to get 100 kits out easily to citizens into their hands so they can help with the first step of reducing their radon exposure, which is testing. But we also want to do it in a way that we raise local awareness. So we get them talking about radon, and we provide information to the community so that there is general information about the radon awareness. And then now, as we produce the summary report as well, we do that as well in a way that the community can access and learn about radon as we're sharing the results out from the program at the end of the program. Another goal is to generate data where there may be a lack of data, and so that's today what we're doing. And then the other is to inspire legacy programs. And so at the end of the slides, I'll show you some documents that Health Canada have developed to support municipalities and things that they can do. So Take Action on Radon has run this program for over 7 years now in over 160 communities. We've worked with all 10 provinces and 1 territory. We've worked with First Nation groups and Métis groups. And with distributing over 30,000 detectors, we have about an average return rate of 74%, which means we've been able to support 21,000 tests in homes and getting tested. And then in a survey that we've done after the first 5 years, we saw that about 30% of those who have tested above the 200 becquerels meter cubed had mitigated their homes already. And so we are putting additional things in place, because this is another important next step that everybody needs to do if the levels are high, is to reduce their radon. And so we've added some additional measures over the last couple of years to further support people in their decision to be able to mitigate. So I won't go through all these, but if you're curious about what other communities we've done, you can see that we've worked with other First Nations in New Brunswick as well as other communities over the last number of years. And so you can kind of see the list on the slides here of other New Brunswick communities that we've worked with. Now, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, and it greatly increases the chance of a smoker of getting lung cancer. And Health Canada estimates that over 3,000 Canadians per year die of radon-related lung cancer. Now, radon comes naturally in our soil. It's from uranium, so uranium is in the soil all across your province, as also across the country. It is a solid, but it decays. And when it decays, it turns into radon. Radon is a gas, so it moves up into our air. It's in the air around us. But through any building or home that has contact with the soil, it enters and it can build up to high levels. So Health Canada recommends that all buildings be tested during the heating season using a 3-month test, and that any levels that are above the 200 becquerels be reduced. And so with this program, at this point, we saw 100 kits were distributed. We did see only about 88 kits started. So there may be people that forgot to start their test and they still have them. And so if they do, we encourage them, they still can use it. So take time to check out the instructions again, and you can set it up now this fall. We did receive 81 reports, and we had, by the time we reviewed the data with the staff, we had about 79 reports issued. So there are a couple that we're just chasing down some details to make sure that the lab can produce those reports as well. So we will have a couple more coming out to them soon. So this is approximately what the individual radon reports look like. We send it out with another page that provides information to help support somebody when they look at their number on their report to determine what to do. This additional information helps them with understanding what the levels mean, a little bit of information about radon mitigation is, and where they can access resources for the next steps. And so if somebody hasn't got a report, we want to encourage them to reach out to us. We do want to support them with getting that report. It is an important step for them. And so for the ones that were issued, these are the results. We saw 28% of the reports were above 200 becquerels per meter cube. And we did break it down a little bit. So you can see here that 30% of the reports were under 100 becquerels. 42% were between 100 and 200. And then of the ones that were above 200, 24% were between 2 and 600, but we did have one between the 600 and 1,000 and a couple that were above 1,000. So there was some that went up quite high. Now, we do also some other questions on the survey just to take a look at some of the participants and the types of houses that are in the project. So most of the homes were semi-detached, but we did have most of the homes were single detached, but we did have one that was a semi-detached home. And so this does provide a little bit more information or more cooperation needed among homeowners when there is multiple units attached, and we do have research and information about that. We also recommend working with a certified professional to ensure it's installed properly and that good communication is provided. We also saw that all the participants in this project who answered this question were owners. Again, somebody who rents needs some additional support, so we like to kind of have some understanding of this so we can provide you with materials, but we do have information available for both renters and landlords so they can communicate with each other if there is a need to understand the process of testing and mitigation. Now you can see most of the people that participated in this project, this was the first time that they had tested their home for radon. We did have a few people that had previously tested, about 6. And then we also ask about mitigation measures. So most of the participants didn't have anything in their home or didn't know about anything in their home that was a mitigation system or a rough-in for radon. One participant did talk about the rough-in, and so currently this is the requirement of the building code. Any homes that were built after 2014 would have been included in the new building code, which has a radon rough-in. That doesn't solve or doesn't reduce the radon at all. It just is there in case it needs to be reduced. So everyone that's built on that building code still needs to test their home to determine if the system needs to be finished. And then we also asked some questions about likelihood of mitigating. And these are some of the things that we want to share with you, because there are a number of people that are undecided in the community. And so just in making sure that there are some supports available so that they can learn more about radon mitigation to help them with that decision. We really try to walk through this program, giving them access to resource and education so that they can make good decisions for their program or for their home. And then we also ask a question about the age of construction. And so you can see in this graph, we've just simplified it. So green are the homes that were below 200, red are the ones that are above 200. The top line are ones that we don't know the area, or they didn't know, or they didn't answer the age of construction. But you can see that as we go through the decades, that radon is in all ages of homes. So sometimes we have a question, is it in older homes? Is it in newer homes? But you can see that we've got high levels regardless of the age. So we do recommend that all homes be tested for radon regardless of their age. And here's the community report now that we are sharing out. We've posted it on our website and shared it with the community. That summarizes, the first page is just a little information about the community and about the number of homes that are included in this report, the percentage that were above the 200 in the red column, as well as the distribution between the below 100 and 1 to 200 level. And then the second page is some general information. So it has that information about the building code on it, as well as some information about mitigation, where to look for a certified professional, and then just some other information about the health risks of radon as well. And so that's now available on our website. We did want to also share some of the other communities that we've worked with across the province. So you're not alone. There are other communities that have a number of homes above the 200 level. And certainly New Brunswick has been identified as a province where we are seeing number of homes. We also wanted to make sure that you know that if someone is asking you about how to fix it, we do have a list of certified professionals. So there are a number in the province who can help them. We do have a list online. They can look for a mitigation professional that is trained and certified and supported by the CNRP program. And in addition, we do have a national radon mitigation grant program. So the Canadian Lung Association provides funds for those that are below the median income. So anybody can apply for this program. They need a long-term test report. They need a quote from a certified professional, and then they need to qualify. And they can qualify one of either two ways. So either they provide their income so that they show that they're below the median income, or if there is an occupant with lung cancer, then they can provide information about that, and that can qualify them as well. We do have another additional resources, and want to also share out the New Brunswick did pass a resolution in November of this past year that they would make free tests available, and that they're working to, public health is working to support this promotion. And so there is lots that is going on in the province of New Brunswick, and we encourage both the community and members to reach out and different groups to work together to support the government in this rollout. And then I mentioned that the Health Canada has resources for municipalities, and so we've got those in these final slides. Again, I won't take time to read them, but just to direct your attention to them. They're simple action steps, things like having information on your website, or just in radon information sessions every November, so that there is information available for citizens. We can also provide posters and bookmarks for libraries or public spaces so that they've got easy access to resources. And so those are on the following slides that you can check out. I appreciate your time, and thank you for participating and allowing me to present this, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Pam, for that presentation and the work that you've done for the town and with the town. That's really interesting information. I know that I lived in the States, and one of the things that you did when you bought a home was you immediately tested for radon. It was part of your home inspection. And so naively, when I moved back here, I thought New Brunswick didn't have radon because it wasn't a thing, you know, in terms of getting your house inspected. So it's, I think it's really important that we spread that information so that people know that there is the potential for that. There are options to mitigate that risk if you do find it in your home. I'm just going to open up the floor to council to see if they have any questions on the presentation. Deputy Mayor Toole?
I just have one quick question. When you test once, is that it? Or is it for some of the people who tested before, would the levels change potentially? Like, is it something you should do regularly or is it just a one and done?
Yeah, that's a good question. So currently the recommendations are only to retest if you've done any major renovations or like change out your furnace or windows or anything that increases the air tightness of your home. But if you are, you know, in that 100 to 200 zone, you might want to, you're getting up close to the guideline level. So you might want to consider testing again, you know, within a 5-year period. And then another recommendation is for new homes. So if your house is newly constructed, things can shift and the concrete slab does shrink a little bit. So we do recommend that you test again within 2 or 3 years after your first occupancy in the home.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Do you have any other questions? I have another quick one, Pam. So say someone does find that they have a higher level of radon in their home and they would like to mitigate that. Do you have a general idea of what the cost for a mitigation system would be? And, you know, my follow-up question to that will be if someone qualifies for the program you outlined earlier, how much of that cost would be covered by that program?
Mm-hmm. So the program sought to cover about half the costs of a mitigation. And when we did research over the last few years, we found that the average cost across the province and across Canada was about $3,000. Now, the cost can change depending on the complexity of a house. So a house that is more complex or has a larger footprint, the price could go up. But in general, that was about the average cost. And then the mitigation grant provides $1,500 towards the cost of the mitigation.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that information, because those are the kinds of questions that people might ask. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We don't have any other questions from council. Again, I will thank you for the good work and appreciate what you're doing to bring awareness to our greater community on the subject.
Great. Thank you very much for your time tonight and appreciate your work together with us as well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, John?
Just as an update for council, this has been the development officer's project, and we hope the new development officer will carry the project forward as well.
That's great, thank you. Okay, so the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the information as presented. And do I have a mover? Councillor Bellmans, and a second by Councillor Burby. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thanks. Item 8, minutes of previous meeting. Regular 8A, regular council minutes of August 11th, 2025. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of August 11th, 2025 as presented. And do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Toole, thank you. Second, Councillor Balcom. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 9, unfinished business, there being none. Move on to item 10, bylaws, there being none. Move on to item 11, new business recommendations. 11A, it's the facility refund policy, and I'll pass that over to the CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to thank the new recreation director for being able to modernize these policies, and I'll turn it over to him for details.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have in front of council a facility usage policy that we're making some minor amendments to, and then the facility refund policy, which is new for the town. I'll speak to the facility usage policy first. That policy has been in place for approximately 10 years and really guides the public usage of our facilities, primarily around the Brunch Point River Center, but also the River Valley Room, or if any group was using Grand Bay or Pantonac. And that policy, we're looking for 2 new additions to it. The first addition being around the user's commitment to safety and security of attendees, which has become a topic amongst the whole country, and just making sure that we're up to date and modern with how we would approach events to make sure that they're safe and appropriate for the facilities that they're booked within. The second addition is around pet access within the facility, which has become more and more common, a question that we are receiving, and confirming that the facility is currently considered a pet-free facility unless permission is granted by administration. So it's not free for pet access, only to make sure that we know when pets are within the facility so that we can clean appropriately between those events. So we just want to make sure that it's clear to users those expectations, and then the minor amendment that we're asking on top of those 2 new additions is just around reference to the facility refund policy. Before I speak to the refund policy, is there any questions regarding the 2 usage statements that we're adding? Okay. So within the facility refund policy, the reason that we're developing this is one of the areas that we were hoping to continue to grow within is optimizing our facility usage. One thing that we're seeing that's holding us back is we have a cancellation policy currently that will allow you to cancel anytime just above 7 days for a complete refund without any penalty or fee. That would be considered incredibly lenient within the facility usage space. To give you an example of a local community here, you pay 50% of your total fee up front, and that is forfeited immediately. And then after within 30 days, the remaining 50% is forfeited. To give you an idea of how structured one can be, the recommendation that I'm putting in front of you is certainly more generous than that to try and still make the facility accessible to all of our users, but also recognize the work that is done, particularly by the accounting department when we're processing payments and then refunding payments. There's fees the town is accumulating. And in addition to that, we have about 12 core weekends that are really high usage, and we book almost 100% of those days from May long weekend through mid-September. And we had this year, 3 of those 25 days get canceled just over that 7-day period, and then we don't get to book them out again because no one knows the facility is available. So we give them a full refund. In one case, it's $600 or $700 because of how many hours they had booked, and we just give them all their money back, and there's no real benefit to the town. We haven't been able to really re-offer that back to the community. So just trying to bring us a little bit more modern on the refund policy, but also trying to remain, I would say, more generous relative to the surrounding communities, but just allow us to really maximize the usage of the facility.
Thanks, Rick. I'll read the motions and open the floor to questions. Should we do these separately or can we do them together, John? What would you prefer?
I prefer to do them together unless, council wants to defeat one of them, then we should separate them.
Yeah, unless someone can mention that. I'll read them together and we'll see if we get a mover and seconder. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the facility usage policy as presented for immediate application to all rentals, and that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the facility refund policy as presented for immediate application to all rentals. And do I have a mover? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence is seconded by Councillor Burkey. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thanks, Council, and thanks Rick and Alex for all the work on modernizing this and making sure that the community gets full usage of the facilities when possible. Okay. So we'll move on to 11B, snow control plan, and I will pass that over to John.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, since the town has brought snow control in-house, the snow control plan has been evolving, and I think this year's the fewest amendments we've seen in the snow control plan. And to discuss the details, I'll turn it over to our work superintendent.
Thanks, John, Your Worship, Council. This last season, it was our second full season of snow and ice control. Staff, or I guess the entire department, learned a lot from from the first season going into the second. So part of our current snow and ice control plan is to review it on a yearly basis so that we can determine if there's any changes required, whether that's policy or procedure. So over the season, with staff, we've had post-event debriefings to see if there's anything that we can change or improve on. So the few changes in the current plan and what's proposed for 25-26 is a slight route change on one of our vehicles. This would be the 1601 route, and we're adding a street to better service that street, then also improve the route for the operator. And then the other change we're doing is more of a procedure thing in the department is to have inventory on hand in case there's an equipment failure. A lot of the parts that we get for our controllers, the suppliers aren't local, or sorry, the manufacturers aren't local, and so local suppliers don't hold inventory. So if we need a part or a cable, it has to be sent out, made, and then returned. So the idea is we'll have some of those cables on hand in case there's a quick failure. The other changes are just wording changes from adding to the fleet, and then just little changes of the description of what those have as attachments.
That's great, thanks Chris. I'll read the motion and open the floor to questions. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the revised 2025-2026 snow and ice control plan. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bailman, second by Deputy Mayor Toole. That's great. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none? Yeah, Stacy nodding head, so all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thanks, and kudos to Chris and Bruce. I mean, we hear the feedback, it's nice to see, you know, the successes and the improvements discussed and addressed every year so that we can continue that improvement and great job, thank you. Alright, item 11C, general revenue Q2 financial report. And I suspect that is going to end up with our CAO, but I'll pass it over to you first, John.
Thank you, Worship. Just generally, a good luck story on the operating side, and then on the sewage side, we decided to make some prudent investments, and for details, I'll turn it over to our CFO.
Thank you, yes, Your Worship and Council. The general revenue fund for the first 6 months of 2025, we are projecting a small surplus of just under $26,000. It should be noted that we do have almost $8 million budget, so that is a very small percentage of the overall budget. Revenues are projected to be higher than budgeted by about $31,000, and expenditures are expected to be slightly higher than budgeted for by around $5,000. The savings on it, there are some savings that we've been able to realise, but there have been some expenditures much greater than we anticipated, especially around equipment repairs. It must be noted that in your package you will see a financial report. This was produced from our new ERP system. There was a lot of efficiencies gained from our new system in producing these forecasts. I understand that they are a little later in the year than we would have anticipated as we were migrating data. It took some time to pull the numbers together, but once we got to that stage, it happened in a really efficient manner. As we produce our quarterly reports, you'll start to evolve, and you'll start to see some more reports in your package. And if I answer any questions.
Thanks, James. I'll read the motion and open the floor. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the general revenue 2025 second quarter financial report as presented. Do I have a mover? Councillor Malcolm, and a second, Councillor Burpee. Any questions or comments on the motion? Oh, John, did you? Pardon?
If council is
Do I?
No, I was just going to say, if you look at the new report that was produced, If you have any input as to what you'd like to see, please let the CFO and I know. And this is all, your suggestion all depend on whether or not the program can handle it. We've already discussed one change that I'd like to see. And then once we get this all figured out, you should be getting this on a monthly basis, but it won't be for at least a couple of months, I understand. Or maybe a little bit more. But it is coming, so if you have suggestions, please shoot an email or talk to me or Steve.
Thanks, John. Any questions or comments? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Move on to item D, sewerage quarter 2 financial report.
Yeah, I guess I was ahead of myself, and I'll let the CFO do the details.
Thank you. So after 6 months, we are projecting a deficit of just short of $35,000. Because the utility operates on a much smaller budget, that actually represents about almost 5% of the total budget. This is in line with what we projected after the first quarter. We could see this coming. And it's primarily driven by the purchase of diffuser parts that have been required for the sewage lagoon. I understand the work to install a lot of these parts was done last week, and it's definitely upgraded the facility there. So a lot of these parts will be able to be used in future years as well, and we'll continue to monitor the financial health of the utility for the remainder.
Thank you, James. So the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the sewer revenue 2025 second quarter financial report as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Poole. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. John, did you say you wanted to say something before I open the floor?
No, I was gonna say is, unfortunately, I may be bringing some more bad news about the lagoon to council. Still have to assess, how urgent it is, but there may be some bad news coming.
Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thanks. Move on to 11E, Municipal Capital Borrowing Board, Application 2025, Tandem Plow and Fire 1. John?
Thank you, Worship. Again, we're renewing our fleet on a schedule, and right now, a new tandem plow truck will allow us to have less breakdowns, more efficiencies, and then the chief's vehicle, again, I think we've extended it by 2 years. I think that's the number that we extended it, so it's up for renewal. I'll turn it over to the CFO for any more details regarding the borrowing board.
Thank you, yes, Your Worship and Council. As part of our long-term capital plan, we do have 2 vehicles that need replacing in 2026. Due to the lead times in acquiring vehicles and tendering for them, we need to start planning now. So we're looking at replacing Fire 1, which is Fire Chief's vehicle, and then replacing a tandem plow truck. The tandem plow truck, we have almost spent $50,000 on it this year, just to keep it going. So it's time to move on from that piece of equipment. We're much better off investing in a new piece of equipment than a very aged and used piece of equipment. So if you approve this motion, we can move forward to apply for borrowing from the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board. They have hearings every month. The next hearing that will be eligible to be heard at is November 10th of this year.
Thank you, James. I'll read the motion and open the floor. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield submit to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application of authorization to borrow for a capital expense for the following term and amount. Transportation services, 1 tandem plow truck, $500,000, term is 10 years. For protective services, mid-size SUV, The amount is $100,000 and the term is 5 years. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bellman, thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Burpee. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item S, UMNB resolution for councils to designate their UMNB voting members. And so this is, I'll speak to this one, this is pretty simple. Currently, I am the president of UMNB, so at the AGM, I will be up at the head table assisting with running the meeting. So first of all, with the new bylaws of UMNB, we need to actually have a resolution to designate the voting member at the AGM. And so we have the Deputy Mayor Toole to be the primary voting member and Councillor Burpee as the secondary voting member at the AGM because I will be unable to vote for the town of Grand Bay-Westfield. So that's that. So I'll read the motion and open the floor to questions. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield appoint Deputy Mayor Toole to be the voting member at meetings of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, UMNB, with Councillor Burpee appointed as the alternate voting member. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Bailman. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item 12, bills for payment. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the September 8, 2025 bills for payment as presented in the amount for $395,545.06. And do I have a mover? Councillor Burpee, and do I have a second? Deputy Mayor Toole, thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you very much. Item 13, consent agenda. 13A, letter, New Brunswick Environmental Network. B, letter of congratulations, FRSC Economic Development Fund. C, letter to the mayor, GNB Department of Justice and Public Safety. D, invitation, New Brunswick Crime Stoppers Gala. E, invitation, United Way St. John Campaign Kickoff Event. F, RCMP J Division RSC 9 Q1 report and consent agenda. And the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the consent agenda items for September 8, 2025. And do I have a mover? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence, second Councillor Burpee, thank you. Questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Now we'll move on to council reports, and we'll start off with Councillor Bailmans.
Well, last August 27th, we had a meeting, strategic plan meeting in St. John, and attended. And I went to the with the mayor to public safety meeting with Mr. Yevon.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Burpee.
Thank you, Your Worship. August 12th, I attended the Indigenous Stories of the Land at Brundage Point, as well as Councillor McIntosh Lawrence and Councillor Balcom, and this was a very interesting storytelling. It was very well attended. August 20th, I virtually attended the Q&A session on the audit on NB Power. There were 3 independent consultants separate from NB Power. And the goal of this panel is to provide recommendations to both users and NB Power itself. So I get asked a lot of questions regarding this regularly, so it's good to kind of keep in touch. And there is another Q&A in person coming up. So for anybody that's interested that might be watching, that will be on the website for NB Power. The report is to be complete in March, so that is their goal. August 27th, the strategic plan review, which was a great opportunity for us all to get together and look back at accomplishments and challenges and brainstorm in an open environment. I like these sessions. On August 28th, I attended the St. Augustine's opening ribbon ceremony beside Councillor McIntosh Lawrence, the mayor, and Councillor Balcom, and this was a beautiful ceremony. and another well-attended event. And then finally, September 6th, the Four Corners Music Fest was an incredible turnout. There were so many people to thank. Sean Glennie, who kind of spearheaded this with providing his band and the music. There was live entertainment all day, and it was just a really, really fun day. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Toole.
I missed all the fun. I guess my main thing was just the strategic plan session, which was a great session, which is really we look forward to every year. And then I just was able to visit some of the markets and summer stages over the last few weeks to enjoy before they finish for the season.
Thank you. Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
Thank you. August 12th, I participated in the UMNB AGM planning session. We're getting ready for our annual AGM at the beginning of October. Also that day, I attended the First Nations storytelling at Greenwich Point, which was fun and entertaining. On the 13th, I announced at the summer stage. August 26th, we had our RBCC monthly meeting, and the 27th was the strategic planning with everyone else. The 28th, I also attended the St. Augustine's ribbon cutting garden ceremony. And lastly, September 3rd, I announced the season finale for the summer stage. It was a 2-hour session, 3 bands, and they were all like, it was sort of like a songwriter's circle. They just all under the gazebo, and it was really cool. So hopefully we do that every year.
Awesome. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Balcom.
Everything I attend has been mentioned, but quick summary, the First Nations storyteller event. I did not know what to expect, but I'm glad that I went, and the setting was absolutely perfect, except on that night, one needed an Arctic blanket. The wind just came right off the water, but it was well worth it. It was really nice. On the 27th, along with the rest of council, the strategic planning with staff. Great event. Glad we do it every year. Everybody learns from each other, and it makes us more. Later that evening, I rushed home and did the introduction at Unity Park for the musical group there. On August the 28th, the ribbon cutting at St. Augustine's Memorial Gardens, and kudos to Jill Robillard and her team. That was a fantastic event, and what they've done there with a little bit of grant money that I know they've applied for from the town, and fundraising that you get from other sources is fantastic. And on September the 4th, I attended the last half hour of the 2-hour Unity Park music at Unity Park. And I'd like to give kudos to, and a big shout out to the Vitality Committee and to the chair, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. It was a fantastic year. I think we had a total of 13 events this year, 13 evenings. And other than the very first one that I introduced at, I don't think it rained in any of the others. But just recall that at the very first one, the staff came out with protective tents, and it was really nice. And also, I'd like to extend a great thank you to the Atlantic Lottery Corporation for sponsoring our event. It gets better every year. I did a quick calculation. I think well over 1,500 people attended the events, and I'm in a pretty good location, just about 1 minute and 45-second walk down my chair. So it's great. That's it, Your Worship.
That's great. Thank you, Councillor. Thanks to Council for all the good work you do on behalf of the residents of the town. People have mentioned a lot of the things I've been to, the summer stage, the markets, the opening of the St. Augustine's Memorial Garden, all of those kind of things, Four Corners music, as I kind of came in between all the excitement, but was able to come by and see everybody and check it out, and that stage was epic. So great job to the organizers there. I was able to attend the Pride Parade in the city of St. John along with Deputy Mayor Toole and some of our wonderful staff. We weren't able to bring the fire truck this year because of the wildfire risk, but I'm sure it'll be back next time. But we certainly represented the town well there. I attended several wildfire risk management meetings that were called at the last minute. one was on Saturday afternoon with just very, very little notice, things like that, just to make sure that all the municipal leaders in the province were kept up to date with the situation and the potential risks across the province and also relative to their own communities. Again, the strat plan session, that's always a great session every year. I think everybody has already kind of made their point about that. Along with Councillor Bellins last week, I attended a public safety meeting that was called by Minister Bowman, basically, with all of the elected officials in RSC 9, or Thunder Regional Service Commission, just to kind of get a feel to what kind of public safety issues people are facing in all of the different communities across the region, and what we think that we need in order to help increase the safety and security of our residents. And our Sergeant Conley was there, and I have to compliment the Sergeant. Things are certainly better in terms of the enforcement here in our community with him at the helm at our detachment. So I know he's not here tonight to hear me say that, but maybe he's one of the people watching, or someone will pass that on to him. But nobody does, I'll make sure to tell him myself. I'm trying to think what else did. Fundy Regional Service Commission meeting was held at the end of August. That starts the 45-day budget review period for the FRSC budget. So that has come and will come to council for their review and decision. And I think that's I'm sure there's other things, but that's sort of the meat of what I've been up to for the last little while. So with that, we'll move on to item 15, business arising from committees of the whole. There being none, we'll move on to item 16, which is adjournment. And do I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Burke, thank you, and do I have a second? Nobody wants to second that one? Second, Doug Lawrence. All in favor? Chair reminded, motion is carried. Thank you very much, Councillor. Thanks to staff and leadership team.